Race 20 of 36 brings us to the Magic Mile known as New Hampshire International Speedway for the running of today's New England 300. If you saw last week at Pocono, we kind of broke down the point situation. It was a tough blow for several big-name drivers that were getting close, especially the top two that didn't finish inside the top 15 for the first time this season. And with this being Jeff Gordon's worst finish since Texas earlier this year, because he was in an early accident with Rusty Wallace, who was also involved and was credited with his first last place finish this season. So if we look at the regular season, we have the playoff grid. And if Frank Kimmel is able to pull off a miracle and start getting some momentum going, he needs wins. He needs to go off between now, lead every single race between now and the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. With Kyle Petty's great run last week at Pocono, that it gave him some extra insurance heading into the playoffs if he were to win between now and the Pepsi 400. Greg Biffle is now the top 30 cutoff man for drivers who want to make it into the playoffs. The highest driver that is currently in based on points on the chase grid, if I can get the thing to work, as of Pocono, is Kurt Busch, because we had Jeremy Mayfield win at Pocono Monday afternoon. If we get in, Kurt Busch is the highest driver, and Ryan Newman and Jeff Burton is that last guy that is in on points. So it's really a battle of four people trying to fight to get into the chase. So guys like Tony Stewart, Bill Elliott, Jeff Burton, Robbie Gordon, really big name that kind of surprised me that is back there, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He looks to be strong at two of the three events on the Daytona Tour because they're racing on the Pepsi 400, but obviously the Sandy Beach at Daytona, nobody's raced on it. Nobody knows how the new technology would handle on the Sandy Beach. But that's not for a few more races. Let's go racing at Loudon. For the New England 300. This was a site back in 2000 where Jeff Burton basically had NASCAR own him, essentially, by leading every single lap in the Duraloop 300 on his way to winning that day. New Hampshire International Speedway, believe it or not, actually has some banking in the corners. Granted, it's minimal at 12 degrees and 2 degrees on the front and the back. Today's race will pay $238,000, so it's one of the more richer races on the calendar. Not as rich as the Brickyard or the Pepsi 400, but it's one of the more richer races on the calendar in terms of winner purse. This place will see 91,000 people today, and the very first race was held in 1993. Coming to take the green flag, you're going to be barreling towards turn one, then hard on the brakes. You want to try your best to keep the car on the bottom. However, as the day goes on, you're going to see more cars start to kind of inch lower and lower, almost running the apron, basically, similar to what we saw at Homestead, the Homestead Road Course, and what we'll see when we race at the championship at Homestead. So coming out of turn 2, much better lap this time. Letting the car go towards the wall. Then dive it hard on the bottom here. Try to earn us the pole. Our first pole this season, believe it or not. That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe. So Dylan Murway goes out and earns himself a pole at Loudon. Let's go to MRN.
Joe Moore and Barney Hall welcoming you to Loudon, home of the New Hampshire International Speedway, for today's new Indy 300. Barney, the fans are locked in and ready for the action. What do you think about this track?
This is a tough track for a lot of drivers. These long straights allow the cars to build up a lot of speed before some hard braking going into the flat corner.
The 121 car, who's currently in the top 10 in points, will try to reach that next step, the top 5.
You know, all these guys are very happy with their top 10 season so far. Hopefully they can mount a charge that will pick them up some more points on the leaders.
Rusty Wallace is one of those drivers who always seems to be running up front.
He's had an incredible run of success in winning races and finishing in the top 10 in points. Add to that a solid qualifying program, and it's no big surprise that Rusty is one of NASCAR's winningest drivers.
Here's the starting line. In the front row are the 121 car and the DuPont Chevrolet. In the second row are the Target Dodge and the Lowe Chevrolet. Starting the race for row 3 are the Valvoline Pontiac and the America Online Chevrolet. Mark Martin, this season's point leader, will start from the number 7 spot. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots are the Caterpillar Dodge and the 23 car. The 6th row has the UAW Delphi Chevrolet and the 88 car. In row 7 are the Altel Ford and the Dodge Dealers UAW Dodge. Starting the race from row 8 are the 26 car and the 98 car. And in row 9 are the Van Racing Dodge and the Pennzoil Chevrolet. Starting in row 10 will be the Ganassi Racing Dodge and the Dale Jr. Chevrolet. In row 11 are the 37 car and the Square D Chevrolet. In row 12 are the Cheerios Dodge and the Team Rusty Ford. Row 13 finds the 15 car and the Kellogg Chevrolet. The 14th row has the 16 car and the Hamilton Ford. In row 15 are the 17 car and the 46 car. Starting the race from row 16 are the Rubbermaid Ford and the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. Row 17 has the Dodge Dealers UAW Dodge and the M&M's Pontiac. the GM Goodrich Service Plus Chevrolet and the 99 car. In row 20 are the Singular Wireless Chevrolet and the Kodak Chevrolet. Back in row 21, we have the Photograph Ford and the Sprint Dodge. And rounding out the field is the Sirius Satellite Radio Dodge.
There you see the starting lineup. Dylan Murway earned his first pole of the season, and kind of hard to believe that it took him 20-plus races to win a pole in his rookie year with him having 4 wins. But first time for everything, right? So 81 laps at the Magic Mile. Everybody is pointing to that NASCAR Thunder Chevrolet to be strong today. So we'll just have to wait and see. 75 laps today at New Hampshire. Pace car is off. Green flag here at Loudon. Great launch for Dylan Murway off of turn 2 that time. Jimmy Spencer tries to take the lead from Dylan. Coming to the line, looks like Dylan will lead this lap. He'll get 5 bonus points this season, and in terms of regular season standings, he is currently 7th on the grid. After having a couple bad races, crashing at Kansas a lot, and got into some late trouble with Michael Waltrip at Pocono. And currently hounded hard by Jimmy Spencer here early on in this one. Dylan Murway trying to hold the lead here. A little bit of contact with Jimmy Spencer. Looks like Jimmy Spencer will take the lead and lead this lap. Here he's under attack by Gordon. As Dylan tries to more or less edge Jimmy Spencer out of the way. He takes the spot, and Jimmy Spencer comes under attack from Jeff Gordon. So far, the top 5 seems really close. It's Dylan Murway, Jimmy Spencer, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Tony Stewart early on here in Loudon after we've completed the 5 laps. Spencer to the inside. Doing everything he can to try to stay out front. All right, 2 tenths on Spencer as Dylan misses the corner here. Murway with half a car length on Spencer. A little bit of contact there. Murway and Spencer still fighting for the lead. Murway will take it. Spencer is still holding on. Now here comes Tony Stewart on the bottom there in 4th. Gonna try to go 3 wide on Spencer and Gordon. Jeff Gordon got shuffled all the way to 5th after being on that outside, so now Tony Stewart has made his way to the 2nd spot. Tony Stewart's still trying to take shots at Dillon. He's on that inside lane. Or Tony Stewart would like to have a win between now and Daytona. That way he doesn't have to deal with the fear of getting caught in a big wreck and losing playoff hopes. He is currently 13th on the chase grid. On points. So he is the he's the fourth highest driver right now. If we get a repeat winner between now and the Daytona Speedway, the Oval, then, or if we get all repeat winners, then we're set for the regular season, for the postseason, which begins at Darlington, which I will drive a Days of Thunder inspired car for that race. Compared to my original plan of driving a Wrangler paint scheme. So, the plan's there. So right now, Kurt Busch is the highest driver, and the cut line currently sits at Jeff Burton. If there is a repeat winner inside that top 16, cut line moves further. Or a new winner in that top 16, the cut line will move further, which Jeremy Mayfield winning at Pocono kind of shocked everybody last week. Because nobody really expected him to win. It was everybody was pointing to either Sterling Marlin or Matt Kenseth or Dale Jarrett before late race issues to be the cars that were dominant. We're going to win Pocono. Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett both have 1 wins to their credit, 1 win each. Matt Kenseth has 2, and the more they win, more wins you get, the higher up your seeding will be when the playoffs are reset at Darlington. Every driver gets credited with 3,000 points at the start of the chase, plus 5 for each win you get. And at the end of each round, so when when elimination happens at Bristol, then the 16 drivers will be cut to 12. Then when the round begins at California, it will be 4,000 points. And then the Charlotte Day race and then Talladega will be the cutoff for the round of 16. So then after that, when we have 8 drivers battling for the spot in the playoffs at the Texas Road Course, everybody in that top 8 will have 5,000 points. When Homestead count comes around, no points. Just the highest of the 4 will be the NASCAR Winston Cup champion for the playoffs. Right now, the regular season championship signs are really pointing to Mark Martin because of how consistent he's been. Right, he has the 2 wins. He won Texas. He won the Pocono Road Course. He's got 2 wins to his name. Jeff Gordon has 3. Three wins. I'm sorry. So right now the top 2 are ranging between Dylan Murway and Jeff Gordon. But the driver that is currently most consistent will be the regular season champion come Daytona. Jerry Nadeau has blown. Anyways, back to here once we're done discussing the future races. Looks like Jerry Nadeau is blowing a motor. And just a reminder, the Motor City 400 will start at 9 o'clock Eastern. So instead of originally having it at 8:30, so start time for the Motor City 400 on Saturday will be moved back 30 minutes for, I guess, more viewers. Out front, Dylan Murway has put the smackdown on Tony Stewart, as he is almost 3 seconds between him and the 20 over in second place. Dylan Murway just got out of turn 2. Going to put Nadu a lap down, or a couple laps down here. So Jerry Nadu is the only car that is retired up to this point. Here in the New Hampshire 300. Out front is the Dylan Murway show, as he is gone. Just laying down amazing lap after amazing lap after amazing lap. Had to get out of the gas a little bit because all the dirt that's on his tires. But out front, Dylan Murway is basically gone. Tony Stewart is in second. And in fact, if this keeps up, Dylan Murway is going to catch lap traffic here in the next 5 or 6 laps here. Guys that are currently on the racetrack. So let's go ahead and crank it up a little. Do a little NASCAR Thunder crank it up. .27 laps in, you saw just a few moments ago Frank Kimmel was blowing a motor, so that basically may have just eliminated him from having any shot of reaching the top 30, even though he did win Talladega over Terry Labonte. Which, heartbreaking moment for the Tri-State Motorsports Ford team, as Dylan Murway has just opened that gap over Tony Stewart now. Dylan Murway is in turn 2. Tony Stewart just got to turn 1. And here's Casey Atwood up ahead. That is going to be the first car that will go a lap down now. They just said they weren't happy after I hit the wall. Now they're happy that I'm just dominating everybody, laying waste to everybody. Wow, all right. So back to this. Dylan Murway is just lapping. Just got to lapping the 7 car of Casey Atwood, who's currently fighting to stay on the lead lap. As Dylan Murray continues to open the gap. Next 2 cars in front of him, Scott Wimmer in the 23, John Andretti in the 43. They have a shot at, they're going to be the next 2 that will go a lap down. Now. So you got Wimmer, Andretti, and Skinner pass 3 cars in front of them. In front of Dylan. That will be going a lap down, and a whole gaggle here with Bobby Hamilton, the 55, Kyle Petty in the 45, and it looks like Shane Hall in the 63 will be going a lap down now. So about the next 6-ish cars, 6 or 7. It looks like, who's that back there with him? Is that Robbie Gordon in the 63? Yep. Oh, Robbie Gordon in the 31. I'm sorry. Yeah, Robbie Gordon, he had a bad qualifying run today. Same with Kevin Harvick. Both of them had to use provisionals to get into the race, start this race. The single wireless Chevrolet of Robbie Gordon, he was part of a controversial victory here back in November of 2001 when they came to Loudon to make up the race after the tragedy of September 11th pushed the race from its date on September 16th to the end of the season and the Friday after Black Friday, Thanksgiving. Look at Dylan Murway. He's just dominating this field. Just lapping the field. He's got a small country mile between him and the second place driver, Tony Stewart, with Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson, and Ryan Newman, the top 5. See Mayfield, last week's winner, about to go a lap down. And Elliott Sadler is now the next car lap down to go a lap down. And it's Elliott Sadler and then the 16 of Biffle that go a lap down. Look at the domination here shown by Dylan Murway early in this race. He's led all 36 laps that have been run, and that's about to be lap 37, all except for one where Jimmy Spencer passed him at the line, but Dylan got him back later. Now Craven goes a lap down, so the 18 of Bobby Labonte and the 5 of Terry Labonte. And here's Dylan Murray trying to lap a couple more cars. He's just put Steve Park a lap down, and the 36 of Ken Schrader now a lap down. We should see cars heading down pit road next couple laps or so. I have no idea how far back Tony Stewart is. It looks like you got a couple more cars heading to pit road. As Dylan Murray continues his more or less stranglehold on the field. He's going to continue to lap some more cars, including the drivers that are on pit road. Green, Stewart, Robbie Gordon. Looks like Bill Elliott. As Dylan Murray has led the most laps so far, all except for one. As it looks like Dylan Murray is going to have to come down pit road here. And so while that's gone on, Dylan Murray probably will come out with the lead if once this is all said and done. He's led every single lap in this race up to this point. Jeff Gordon has exited pit road. Todd Bodine has gotten onto pit road. Oh, my pit crew is sus. So while that's gone on, Ward Burton is going to come down pit road by the looks of it. No, I thought he was going to duck in. And there's the rest of the field that will come on the pit road. Johnny Benson on pit road, along with Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, and I think I saw Kenseth back there. We have ran half of this race caution-free up to this point. More cars are in pit road. On pit road, sorry. Dylan Murray is Kevin Harvick. Comes back on the racetrack, so now if you want to have an idea of how much cars are on the lead lap, let's take a look, shall we? Only 3, Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton, are on the lead lap. Everybody else is almost a lap down. Or close to it. Anybody from Casey Kane and probably Kevin Harvick on back is 1 lap behind, including Burton and Harvick. That just the scoring hasn't updated yet. Frank Kimmel and Jerry Nadeau are the only cars that have retired from this race. Up to this point due to engine issues, but we've had no cautions. Up to this point, it has been the Dylan Murray show. Save for only green flag stops. He was only passed once today under green flag conditions. That was by the 41 of Jimmy Spencer, who barely led at the line, but Dylan Murray got him back in turn 1. Dylan Murway coming to lap the 18 of Labonte in a race that has just been absolute just domination by Dylan Murway. Tony Stewart was in that conversation. Never mind, he's made his way back into it now. He's in second, but he is well off the pace. Dylan Murway just put Labonte a lap down. And here comes Dylan Murway under Jeff Green. Try to put him a lap down, and Johnny Benson and Steve Park here as well. The next targets for Dylan to lap if he can get to him. We ran 3/4 of the first Richmond race under green until we had late yellows mix things up, and we had a Joe Gibbs driver head to victory lane. We ran the entire rate of this race up to this point caution-free. Tony Stewart is in second. You think we could see some yellows? If we see some yellows, which Dylan's hoping to not see any. Dylan Murway lets Johnny Benson go. "26 laps to go to this point. Dylan Murway trying to block Johnny Benson, keep him a lap down. Dylan Murway has let such a blistering pace go. He's gotten into the 28.94s. 28.90s is the fastest lap today. And how about this? Dylan Murway has only been passed once by that red car up ahead. It's that red Dodge. And Dylan's about to put him a lap down here. How about that, huh? "52 laps complete. Dylan Murway has led all but 2 of them. Johnny Benson led the race on pit road, but in terms of on the racetrack, Dylan Murway has only been passed once. And even then, it wasn't really that much of a pass. It was by that Energizer Dodge up ahead of Jimmy Spencer, who started third today. And he's put on a show. And Dylan Murway has been battling with just basically on cruise control. You got Ricky Rudd up ahead. You got Bill Elliott back there. The next 2 cars that are going to go 1 lap down. We got Bill Elliott up there, Michael Walsh, Ricky Rudd, the next two that will go a lap down. In fact, up to this point, we've got 19 laps to go. When I get to the line, it'll be 18. Dylan Murray about to get to the 28 of Rudd. They bang together off 2. And Dylan Murray continues his dominance by leading basically the entire race. And last time somebody in the Winston Cup Series did that was Jeff Burton back in 2000. We've had no yellows the entire day. Dylan Murray has led the entire race up to this point, driving a Dale Sr. Oreo-inspired Chevrolet for this event. This time we will be driving the UNC. It was announced that we'll be driving a Pittsburgh Steelers a Denver Broncos themed car next week at the Motor City 400, Michigan, which was the fan-made paint scheme choice. We have 2 more opportunities to submit those. The Pepsi 400 at Daytona. I know I initially said earlier I was going to do a Days of Thunder-inspired throwback for Darlington, but I'm going to let that be the fan-made throwback paint scheme design as well. Do you want me to drive a paint scheme that is themed after a Legends past, keep the Dale Sr. look, or just go all out and make it look old-timey in terms of paint scheme designs, or not run a throwback at all? You decide. 62 laps complete. Dylan Murray is just flying through this pack of cars. He's got Rusty Wallace in front of him after finishing last week on Monday at Pocono. Not a good look for him this afternoon for the 1989 Winston Cup champion. Dylan Murray has honestly just blown the doors off this field. He's about to get to the 55 of Bobby Hamilton, put him another lap behind. Same with the 7 to Casey Atwood. Right now, it honestly seems like the top 2 or so, everybody else would be fighting for second, as Dale Jarrett has taken second from Stewart. Dylan Murray has led 60 laps today on the racetrack. Johnny Benson and Jimmy Spencer have led the other 2. Everybody else is 1 lap down. With the exception of Frank Kimmel and Jerry Nadeau, who are out of the race. Dylan Murray got by Casey Atwood. He goes a lap down. There's looks like 23 Scott Wimmer is the next car to go another lap down. And I believe looks like the 40 is Sterling Marlin. No, yeah, that's Sterling Marlin in that Dodge. He will be the next car on the lead lap to go a lap down after Rusty Wallace. And there's a whole line of cars up ahead. Ward Burton, possibly. It looks like Ward Burton. No, that's Mike Skinner. Is the next car for up ahead of Marlin, who is currently holding up Sterling and making it easier for Dylan Murway to get to him. Nine to go at the line. Dale Jr., Kurt Busch, Jeff Purvis, Matt Kenseth, the next 4 cars in front of him. And while Sterling Marlin and Mike Skinner start to race, Dylan Murway now closes in. There's a whole cluster, including, looks like Jeff Gordon. He was the outside pole sitter for this race. He could be in danger of going a lap down by the time today is over. Same with Ryan Newman up ahead. He looks to be in danger of going 1 lap down as well. See him back there in front of Junior. As Dylan Murway has put Sterling 1 lap down. Sterling Marlin in the 40. Purvis in the 37. Kenseth in the 17. The next couple cars that will go 1 lap down. The next 2. Kenseth will go 1 lap down. Purvis will most likely go another lap down. So 6 to go. Got Steve Park, Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin up ahead in this mix of cars that are going 1 lap down. Dylan Murway used the pit cycle strategy to put himself almost lapping 9. He has lapped all but 9 cars, or 8 cars technically. What a day that Dylan Murway needed. He, after having those 2 bad races, he came in, said that we have to stop this skid, and that is one great way to stop it. An amazing performance, lapping pretty much the entire field up to this point. See Jeff Gordon trying to fight to get on the lead lap. He gets into Steve Park. No yellow there. Jeff Gordon now goes 1 lap down. So the next cars in front of him, Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson. Looks like Jeremy Mayfield holding up Jimmy Johnson. So that'll be to Martin's benefit, but to Jimmy's detriment. Look at that. Only 5 cars will be on the lead lap. I bet you by the time this race is done, we'll literally have the entire field 1 lap down, save for maybe 2 cars. Dylan Murway, the race leader, and probably Dale Jarrett. Man, I haven't seen where he's at. Free to go. We have ran the entire race caution-free up to this point. 72. Dylan Murway has led almost 71 laps up to this point. Led the most laps. He was only passed on the track during green flag conditions on the racetrack at least only once. That was by Jimmy Spencer. Every other time, Dylan Murway has been out front, driving that Oreo-inspired throwback to Dale Sr., and he has put on a show today, just of honestly amazing domination with only 2 cars on the lead lap here, coming to the white flag here in the New Hampshire 300, sponsored by Behind Enemy Lines. White flag is out one more time around the New Hampshire International Speedway. When you talk about great performances in sports, you remember the flu game by Michael Jordan or Tom Brady's 5-touchdown in one-half game against the Titans in 2009. Dylan Murray has come to New Hampshire, dominated and led the entire race, wasn't passed more than once, and will win today at New Hampshire.
There were only a few lead changes.
Yeah, there weren't too many battles up front for position. Those guys who ran in the top 5 were pretty dominant all race long.
And the 121 car was the car to beat all race long.
Well, the credit will go to that entire team. They've been working hard all week to give their driver the fastest car possible, and boy, was it fast. Absolutely incredible.
Join us next time for another exciting NASCAR Winston Cup Series race. So long now from all of us here at EA Sports and MRN.
What a day. Dylan Murray picks up his 5th win of the year, still holds on to that number 1 seed on the playoff grid. So if the chase were to start next week at Michigan, he would have 3,025 points because it was 5 wins. This was his best track this season. How about this amazing performance today? Everybody on the wow, we ran this entire race caution free, which is impressive. So top 10, Dylan Murray will wins today at Loudon. Dale Jarrett is 2nd, Tony Stewart 3rd. Pretty much everybody from him down is a lap off the pace because of how blistering of a race Dylan Murray laid down. Tony Stewart's 3rd, Mark Martin 4th, Jeff Gordon ends up 5th. Earnhardt Jr. has a nice rebounding run. He needed this. He ends up 6th. Tony Stewart especially needed this. He's a little close on points. Ryan Newman 7th. Jimmy Johnson 8th. Matt Kenseth 9th. And Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. Rusty Wallace with the rebound today. Johnny Benson with a good run. End up 13th. Ricky Rudd, 14th. Jeff Burton with a solid rebound. He is the last driver in on points. Right now, it's could come down to either Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, Earnhardt Jr., or Robbie Gordon when it comes to the playoffs. The Daytona Tour is coming up, so that ought to be interesting. Kevin Harvick started 37th today, ends up 18th. What impressed me, there was a lot of clean racing. Sure, there was a little bit of pushing and shoving, especially throughout the pack, but no caution flags, no cars exiting this track on a rollback or in the trailer. Damaged, anyway. Jimmy Spencer with a tough go, ends up 22nd. Robbie Gordon, this will be a big blow for him, ending up 24th. Fell a lap down early on. Then everybody from Biffle on back is 2 laps down. Tough go for Mayfield, ending up 31st after his win last week on Monday at Pocono. Steve Park ending up 36th. Mike Skinner 37th. Sadler 38th, Casey Atwood 39th, and Scott Wimmer falls all the way back to 40th in the final order. And the final car that was on track today at the finish, Bobby Hamilton, ends up 41st. Frank Kimmel and Jerry Nadeau were the only drivers that had to exit today's race due to blown motors. But the important and probably the crazy thing about this, no driver was wrecked today. No cars crashed. So, while we do that, here's the Motor City 400. Here shakes up regular season point standings. Dylan Murway has a big day today, coming from 7th to 4th. If he can put together a great performance here in the Watkins Glen doubleheader, he could have a shot. He could have an outside shot at taking this regular season championship. So, after this, only one track is different between Watkins Glen before the Watkins Glen doubleheader with the Thunder Road 220 Friday night and the Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen on Saturday afternoon, and then the 3 races at Daytona. Racing on the sand, racing at the road course, and racing on the super speedway. And then the playoffs begin. Dylan Murway bagged pretty much all but 2 awards today, and Jeff Burton passed the most cars, and Ricky Rudd made the best pass of the race. Dylan Murway slowly starts to open his lead over Jimmy Johnson and the Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year. Dylan Murway becomes the 11th driver to win a pole this season. The top 5 from the Coke 600 will be able to fight for $1 million at Daytona. Robbie Gordon and Dale Jr. were inside the top 5, so that could be a big opportunity for one of these drivers. Chevrolet opens their lead over Ford, and Dylan Murway, leading pretty much the entire race at Loudon, flies by Jeff Gordon on the lap champion standings. So, paint scheme time. You might recognize this NASCAR scheme. So, the Exalta Chevrolet that William Byron ran this past season will be the paint scheme I run in the Motor City 400. The sponsors, Nikon comes on the car. Monte Carlo returns to the driver's spot in the sponsors. We will see you Wednesday night for the Saturday night for the Motor City 400. Remember the new start time of 9 o'clock Eastern.